Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4 and today we will present about our education policy, which are the dual language program. So this is our team members, which include me, myself, JAZILAH ARINA, ALYA HUMAIRA, SHAFIQAH, NORASYIKIN, and FATIN IMAN.
For question 1, in the mathematics quiz, ALYA take 1.5 hours to answer part A and 1 hour to answer part B. How many hours she took to complete both parts? Okay, student, you can answer this question first and we will discuss in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Alamak, saya tak faham masalah ni. Syafiqah faham ke?
Saya pun tak faham sebab saya tak payah sangat bahasa Inggeris ni.
Itulah. Cikgu, boleh tak cikgu explain dalam bahasa Melayu untuk soalan ni?
Sekejap ya awak, bagi cikgu masa dulu.
Soalan 1. Dalam kuis matematik, Eliana mengambil masa 1 jam 30 minit untuk menjawab bahagian A dan 1 jam untuk menjawab bahagian B. Berapakah jumlah yang diambilnya untuk menyelesaikan kedua-dua bahagian itu? Ada yang tahu jawapannya apa?
Saya cikgu, saya 2 hours and half the answer.
2 jam setengah cikgu.
Assalamualaikum, I am ALYA HUMAIRA. We start our presentation with the introduction of DLP. The previous video showed a comparison of the situation before and after the dual language program was implemented. But what exactly is DLP? DLP, the dual language program, was introduced in 2016. It replaced the previous policy known as the teaching and learning of science and mathematics in English. This shift was part of the Malaysian government's initiative called Top Uphold Malay Language and Strengthen the Command of English Language. Under the LP, selected primary and secondary school are given the flexibility to teach mathematics and science in English, while other subjects continue to be taught in Bahasa Malaysia. This strategic change aims to enhance student proficiency in English, which is crucial in today's globalized world, while also preserving the importance and uses of the national language. By allowing students to learn key subjects like mathematics and science in English, the DLP provides them with the linguistic skills necessary to excel in this field at an international level. At the same time, it ensures that students remain grounded in their culture and linguistic heritage by studying other subjects in Bahasa Malaysia. In essence, the DLP seeks to balance the dual goal of enhancing English language proficiency and upholding the national language, thus preparing students for both local and global challenges. Before we go deeper into the discussion about the dual language program, let's take a moment to understand its history and evaluation. In 2016, the DLP was implemented in 377 schools. The program focused on teaching mathematics and science in English, while other subjects continued to be taught in Bahasa Malaysia. As I said before, this approach aims to improve student proficiency in English while preserving the importance of the national language. Since its inception, the number of schools participating in the DLP has increased. By 2024, the program had expanded to include 2,501 schools. This significant growth reflects the growing acceptance and success of the DLP in the Malaysian education system. The DLP aims not only to improve English proficiency among students, but also to maintain the importance of Bahasa Malaysia. This dual focus is designed to enhance students' overall language skill and academic performance, preparing them for a competitive global environment while staying connected to their cultural roots.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SHAFIQAH binti Muhammad SHAHRIR. My student ID is 2024902903. So now I will talk about the first policy problem before the establishment of dual language program is decline in English proficiency among students in Malaysia, especially in secondary school. This issue has become a major concern for the Ministry of Education in 2003. The PPSMI policy, which aimed to teach science and mathematics in English, was introduced to address this problem. However, despite its good intention, the policy faced significant challenges. Many students struggle to understand these subjects when taught in a second language, ultimately failing to meet its primary objective of improving English proficiency. By 2012, PPSMI was abolished as it became clear that it was not achieved the desired result. This failure highlights the need for a more flexible approach to bilingual education. In response, the Dual Language Program, or DLP, was established. The failure of PPSMI give an impact in English proficiency among students, which affect the quality of education in Malaysia. Next is the issue of ineffective learning outcomes under the pengajaran dan pembelajaran sains dan matematik dalam Bahasa Melayu or PPSMI policy. Although PPSMI policy aimed to improve English proficiency among students, it led to a significant challenges in Malaysia secondary school. Many students found it difficult to understand science and mathematics concepts when these subjects were taught in a second language. This created a confusion and frustration, resulting in a decline in their academic performance. Research highlighted that only 9% of secondary school classes effectively deliver lessons in English, far below expectation. As reported by ALYA in 2023, students lack the necessary English skill to comprehend the vocabulary used, which directly impact their ability to grasp key concepts in science and mathematics. These ineffective learning outcomes ultimately lead to the abolishment of PPSMI in 2012. The policy failed to adequately support students who struggle with language barrier, leaving the frustrated and compromising their academic success. Moreover, this policy also encounters significant opposition from various stakeholders, including parents, political groups, and teachers, who believe it poses a threat to the national language, Bahasa Melayu, and cultural identity. Many parents fear that teaching in a second language would weaken their children's fluency in Bahasa Melayu, raising concern about the cultural integrity. Political group also criticized the policy, viewing it as a challenge to efforts in promoting Bahasa Melayu as the country's official language. Teachers, especially in rural areas, highlighted the difficulty of implementing the policy due to limited English usage in these communities. According to Malaysia Kini, many parents express concern that students, particularly in rural areas, might struggle not only to learn in English, but also risk losing proficiency in their national language. This resistance ultimately lead to dissatisfaction with PPSMI and contribute to its termination. The strong opposition from stakeholders highlight the complexity of implementing policies that impact education, culture, and identity. Last but not least is the issue of teacher competency under the PPSMI policy. While the policy aimed to improve student English proficiency by teaching science and mathematics in English, it overlooked a critical factor, teacher proficiency in the language. Many teachers struggle with linguistic challenges as they were not fluent in English. This directly affected their ability to teach this subject effectively. Some of the teachers is mixing Malay and English during their lesson, which often confuse students instead of helping them. Additionally, a lack of proper training and preparation for this sudden shift in teaching methods left teachers unprepared to deliver quality lessons. The lack of language training programs and limited time for skill development restrict the teacher from achieving PPSMI goals. Moving forward, policies like PPSMI must consider not just the needs of students, but also the challenges faced by teachers to ensure effective implementation and success.
Now I will explain to you guys about the policy objective. So there are three main objectives, which are to enhance English skills, expand access to global knowledge, and improve job market competitiveness. The first objective of the Dual Language Program, or DLP, is to boost English proficiency by teaching core subjects in English, which are the science and mathematics subject. This helps students engage with technical vocabulary and academic necessary for fields like science and technology. For example, students learn terms like photosynthesis in English, strengthening both their subject knowledge and language skills. So the second objective of the DLP is to provide access to global knowledge. It is because English is essential for accessing the latest research and advancement in fields like biotechnology, medicine, and the environment. So by learning in English, students can engage with international literature and develop a global perspective, which preparing them for careers in the global marketplace. And for the third objective, it is to increase the marketability of students in the world of work. As we all know, English is the universal language for business, and many global companies seek employees that are proficient in English. For instance, healthcare students exposed to medical terms in English will gain a competitive edge in the job market. Moving on to the policy strategies for the dual language program, the first strategy is bilingual instruction. This approach teaches academic content in both English and Malay, ensuring that students understand complex concepts in their native language while strengthening their English proficiency. For example, in a science lesson, a teacher might first explain a concept in English and then follow up with the explanation in Malay to ensure the understanding of the students. Schools like Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Cukai, Kemaman Terengganu use this method, where students study subjects like biology, chemistry, and additional mathematics in English, and by using the English textbook. This approach helps to gain students global knowledge while becoming fluent in both languages. For the next strategy, we have curriculum development. This strategy integrates content knowledge with language skills, especially in subjects like science and mathematics. The aim is not only to deliver content, but it also to improve students' English language proficiency. For example, is the use of resources like e-Guru portal, which offer interactive content in both Malay and English for the students. This platform allows students to access lessons and exercise in both languages, which are very helpful for them to get a better understanding in a global terms and concepts such as photosynthesis or autonomic structure. And the last strategy is the teacher training and support. So the success of the dual language program are realized heavily on the teacher training. So teachers are provided with workshops and resources to enhance their bilingual teaching skills. For instance, the Teacher Professional Development Program helps educators master bilingual instructor techniques and manage dual language classrooms. Continuous workshops also encourage collaboration among teachers to share the best practice for teaching in both language, which ensuring that students can understand all the content delivered in both language.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. My name is FATIN BINTI ABDUL and today I will present about strengths and weaknesses of dual language program. The first strength I would like to present is enhanced language proficiency. The dual language program helps students improve their English by teaching science and math in English, while using Malay for other subjects. This bilingual approach addresses the issue of weak English language skill. Research also shows that DLP students improve their English over time, even if they struggle at first. Learning technical terms in English prepare them for higher education and global careers. While students in rural areas may face more challenge, they still show better English progress compared to those in non-DLP programs. In summary, the DLP is effective in boosting English proficiency, especially with proper support, trained teachers, and gradual language introduction. This prepares students for future academic and professional success. Next, the dual language program also shown a strong academic result, especially in subjects like mathematics and science that require advanced language skill. Research including NORASYIKIN findings presented at the PASAP 4 conference shows that DLP students perform better than non-DLP students in this area. As you can see in figure 1, according to NORASYIKIN Ahmaduddin's research, DLP students consistently score higher than non-DLP peers, particularly in mathematics. This is largely due to increased exposure to English, which improve their understanding of mathematical terms and problem-solving techniques commonly used in English. Next, DLP enhancing student marketability in the global workforce. The dual language program enhanced student employability by promoting bilingual fluency in Malay and English. This equipped them with communication skills essential for both local and international workplace. Bilingual graduates are highly sought after to their ability to bridge cultural and linguistic gaps, a crucial skill in today's global market. Malaysian Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim highlight the importance of mastering both languages to ensure Malaysia's competitiveness while preserving its cultural identity. This aligns with the nation's goal to balance tradition with global relevance. Teaching STEM subjects in English through the DLP also expose students to global scientific knowledge and advancement. This ensures they are prepared for careers in fields like technology, engineering, and healthcare, where English is the dominant language. Next, I will continue with the weaknesses of the policy. The first weakness is education dilemma, Malay or English in science and mathematics. Malaysia faces a challenge in deciding the language for teaching science and mathematics. Teaching in English gives students access to global knowledge, improve employability, and boost international competitiveness. On the other hand, using Malay ensures inclusivity, particularly for rural and underprivileged students, while preserving cultural identity. This debate intensified when Chinese National Type Secondary School (SMKJK) and Chinese Secondary School in Penang opposed the Ministry of Education dual language program. They noted that while many parents prefer English for this subject, concerns remain about the program's effectiveness in addressing language barriers. A study found that student confidence and readiness to learn this subject in English were moderate, with nearly half unsure about following lessons fully in English. This hesitation highlights the need for strategy to boost confidence and readiness for English-based instructions. The dilemma reflects the broader challenge of balancing accessibility, cultural identity, and global competitiveness in Malaysia's education system. Lastly, lack of financial support. A major challenge for Malaysia's dual language program is insufficient funding, which impact teacher training and classroom resources. Without proper financial support, many teachers lack the training needed to effectively teach science and mathematics in English. Teacher proficiency in English is critical for the program's success. Poor language skills can hinder effective teaching and student learning. The National Union of Teaching Professionals (NUTP) has urged the Ministry of Education to provide comprehensive training for DLP teachers to improve their English skill and teaching effectiveness. That's all from me. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, in the nutshell, the dual language program (DLP) in Malaysia has encountered several policy challenges, as explained in the policy problems and policy evaluation under its weaknesses. So as to ensure that the objective of the government and the Ministry of Education in implementing DLP successful, there have some policy recommendations based on our perception and also by researching in related sources. First and foremost, the engagement from the parents in supporting the implementation of DLP, and also by collaboration with the Parent Teacher Association (PTA) is very essential. The parental involvement in children education is crucial for their achievement, with attitude, language practices, and perceptions significantly influencing the success of the program. So this argument is because parents are part of a child immediate environment in which they have a significant impact on their life and development, including their academic achievement. So, on the other hand, collaboration with the Parent Teacher Association (PTA) is also crucial for successful implementation of DLP in Malaysian school. So basically, PTA bridge the gap between the school administration and the parents by fostering understanding, and also cooperation about the program's objective and benefit. Okay, next, the government support is also as the major mechanism in supporting the implementation of DLP, especially in educational institutions. Typically, government will providing ongoing support in terms of the funding support and teachers training support. The Parent Action Group for Education advocate that for the government funding for inquiry-based scientific education, including the annual budget allocation for the teacher training in English and Malay language for hands-on and enjoyable and effective teaching of science and mathematics in both languages. Therefore, in order to conclude this part, we think that all the parties, including parents, students, teachers, Ministry of Education, and other related organizations, play critical roles in enhancing good education for all Malaysian children by introducing many of programs in order to ensure the students' well-being in the future.
To conclude, the dual language program has achieved success in enhancing the English language skill. This improvement is crucial for their intellectual performance and future interpersonal skill in an increasingly globalized world. The DLP has significantly increased the availability of the education tools in English, providing all students with access to these resources. This ensures that children gain English proficiency, enabling them to compete with their peers globally in education and employment opportunities. To maintain and enhance its effectiveness, the program should continue with target adaptation to address current concerns. Key areas for improvement include better training for teachers, adequate allocation of resources, and regular monitoring of the program process. To further support the DLP, additional support and remedial sessions should be offered to ensure the program is accessible to everyone, especially those struggling with English. Continuous program review and improvement through routine assessment and feedback mechanism are essential to keep the program effective and relevant. That's all from us. Thank you for giving us your time and attention until the end of our presentation.